Hey, welcome back to the channel. And today we have news that will blow your mind, drop your jaw, and make your fingers itch to share it with every group chat you're in. Picture this. You open Naver, the biggest news portal in South Korea, flooded every single day by thousands of articles from hundreds of K-pop artists. And you see one name dominating every single top spot. Not 2, not 3, but 11 articles in a row. That name? Jimin. Park Jimin. This one BTS member just froze Naver solid. If you're ARMY, buckle up because we are going through everything that happened. If you're not ARMY yet, by the end of this video, you just might be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because content like this needs all the support it can get. Alright, let's go back to the very beginning. What exactly happened? It all started in Mexico City, May 2026. BTS was in the middle of the BTS World Tour Erarang, the biggest K-pop world tour in history, spanning 79 concerts across 34 cities around the globe. And the first Latin American city on the itinerary was Mexico City, with 3 consecutive concert nights at Estadio GNP Seguros on May 7th, 9, and 10, 2026. But before the concerts even began, something extraordinary had already taken place. On May 6th, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum officially invited BTS to the National Palace, the Palacio Nacional. This was not just a casual visit. This was a head of state formally recognizing the cultural impact this Korean group carries with them wherever they go. Let that sink in for a second. Now imagine this. BTS steps out onto the balcony of Mexico's National Palace, and below them, thousands of ARMY fans are packed into Zocalo Square, the historic heart of Mexico City. A sea of purple, ARMY's signature color, floods every corner of the square as far as the eye can see. And that is the exact moment Jimin stole the entire show. With his iconic long blonde hair and a sharp, elegant classic suit, Jimin stood on that balcony. Not just standing, he stood like a prince straight out of a movie. Fans lost their minds instantly. Korean media immediately described him as looking like a prince from a fairy tale. Trends exploded on Mexico's X. Welcome Jimin to Mexico, and Bienvenido a Mexico Jimin, both shot to the #1 trending spot at the same time. And Jimin? He didn't just wave at the crowd. After stepping back inside, he posted a photo of Zocalo Square on his Instagram with a short message that absolutely melted everyone who read it. Mexico, gracias heartsuit. 2 words. Millions of broken hearts. That is Jimin. But that was just the opening act, guys. On the night of the first concert, May 8th local time, Jimin walked out onto the stage at Estadio GNP Seguros in front of tens of thousands of fans, and he absolutely exploded. Korean media immediately gave him the title, Master of his craft. And not without reason. In the middle of the performance, a moment happened that went viral across the entire world within minutes. Jimin pulled off a surprise abs reveal on stage. This wasn't an accident. It was pure performance energy that set the stadium on fire. Fans who were there screamed at the top of their lungs. The fancam videos capturing that moment rocketed to millions of views in just a matter of hours. And that still wasn't all. Near the end of the concert, Jimin addressed the audience in Spanish, sentences he had personally prepared specifically for his Mexican fans. A stadium that was already at full boiling point just detonated even louder. Picture 65,000 people erupting in one single wave of energy at the exact same moment. But what left the deepest impression on media and fans alike was one consistent thing: Jimin's total mastery as a performer. Every movement precise. Every vocal note landing exactly where it should. Every facial expression telling a story. That is why Korea Herald, Star News, and dozens of Korean entertainment outlets immediately started writing article after article about his performance. Not one article, not 2, but a relentless flood. And that is what set off what happened next on Naver. Okay, now we're getting to the heart of this video. Naver Entertainment News is the single most important barometer in South Korea for measuring how much public attention an artist is commanding. Every day, hundreds of entertainment articles compete to land on the front page. It is a ruthless arena. New idols, new dramas, new comebacks, new controversies, all of them fighting for a slice of attention every single second. And then Jimin walked in. Articles covering Jimin's viral moments in Mexico swept the top 1 through 5 spots of Naver Entertainment News in a single day. But even that wasn't enough for Jimin. Soon after, reports came flooding in that articles about him had taken over all 11 of the top positions simultaneously. Try to process that. You open the Naver Entertainment front page, and from article number 1 all the way down to number 11, it's all Jimin's face. All his name. 11 in a row. The moment this news spread, the global fanbase went into a complete frenzy. Major fanbase accounts like @Jimin Global immediately started posting screenshots with the caption, "Articles about Jimin's viral moments in Mexico currently occupy top 1 to 5 of today's Naver Entertainment news rankings." Let's continue supporting and promoting Jimin by showing love to positive news. So what were all these articles actually about? Here's the breakdown that makes this even more impressive. Articles 1 through 3 covered Jimin's appearance on the balcony of Mexico's National Palace, the Prince moment that froze the internet. Articles 4 and 5 focused on his first night concert performance, the viral abs reveal, his Spanish greeting to the fans, and the master of his craft title he earned. Articles 6 and 7 documented the global social media explosion. Welcome Jimin to Mexico, trending all over X. Fan cams crossing millions of views in a single night. Articles 8 and 9 were full recaps of all 3 concert nights, including Jimin's crowd interactions and backstage moments. And Articles 10 and 11 captured the international media reaction, including Forbes reporting that Jimin had recorded over 97 million streams on Mexico's Spotify chart, the highest of any K-pop solo artist on that chart. 11 articles, one name, one chapter of history that changed everything. For anyone who might be newer to the K-pop world, or just curious about how one person could be this enormous, let's talk about Park Jimin properly. Born on October 13th, 1995, in Busan, South Korea, Jimin joined BTS from their very debut in 2013. But here is what makes him extraordinary. He was never just a group member. Over more than a decade, Jimin built his own identity that is entirely unique. A performer operating at a level that is genuinely rare, even on the K-pop stage. His records speak for themselves. Back in 2023, his debut solo track, Like Crazy, became the first song by a Korean artist to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a milestone that the New York Times then included in their list of 20 things that happened for the first time in 2023. He is, quite literally, walking history. In 2024, Jimin released his second solo album Muse, with the title track, Who? And from the moment it dropped on July 19th, 2024, it climbed straight to number 1 on Spotify Korea's daily top songs chart and never came down for more than 500 consecutive days. That had never happened before in the entire history of Spotify Korea. Not for any song, not by any artist, from anywhere in the world. And in 2026, as of May, Who had accumulated 2.4 billion streams on Spotify, making it the first solo song by an Asian artist without a featured guest to reach that milestone. It now sits at number 37 on Spotify's all-time most streamed songs list globally. This is not luck. This is not a streak of good timing. This is what a decade of relentless consistency looks like. Because one achievement was never going to be enough for Jimin, let's walk through everything he's already stacked up just in 2026. At the start of the year, Jimin became the cover star of Vogue Korea's January issue. Not just one cover, 3 versions simultaneously, all dressed in Dior, set against a stunning blue color palette. Vogue Korea called him the Sound of Now. And honestly, there is no more accurate title on the planet right now. After all 7 BTS members completed their mandatory military service in June 2025, the group came back together with their 5th studio album Erarang, released on March 20th, 2026. The world tour launched April 9th in Goyang, South Korea, and immediately became the largest K-pop tour in history. 79 concerts, 34 cities, 23 countries. And at every single stop, Jimin shows up with everything he has. A few weeks after Mexico City, Jimin went viral all over again in Las Vegas. On May 23, 2026, during the first night at Allegiant Stadium, Jimin appeared on stage with his blonde hair worn in braids, and within minutes, Jimin Braids was trending number 1 in the United States on X. His fancam videos crossed 1 million views on social media in an almost impossibly short time. Even before the show hit its midpoint, Jimin's had risen to the #1 real-time trend on US X, appearing simultaneously in the music, dance, and celebrity trending categories. His track, Angel PT1, created for the Fast X soundtrack, received a gold certification from the RIA in the United States after passing 500,000 units. He remains the first Korean artist to receive a credit on a Fast and Furious soundtrack. The song once peaked at number 65 on the Billboard Hot 100, hit number 1 on iTunes across 100 countries within 4 days of release, and has now passed 244 million Spotify streams. BTS was officially named to the Guinness World Records Icon list for 2026, joining the ranks of Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Elton John, and Paul McCartney. BTS is the first and only musical group, and the first Asian act, to ever appear on that list. And Jimin, as one of the group's most visible forces, is permanently written into that global record. As the global ambassador for Dior since 2023, Jimin continues to front major campaigns in 2026. In late 2025, he also signed as the global ambassador for Korean haircare brand Naver. Every brand he attaches his name to instantly becomes a news event. The biggest question that always comes up is this: why Jimin? Why is he the one who keeps pulling all the attention in a world packed with talented idols? The answer is simple to say, but deep to understand. It starts with authenticity. Jimin has never tried to be anyone other than himself. When he stood on that balcony in Mexico City, with his long blonde hair, in that suit, looking out over a crowd that had been waiting for him, that was not a marketing decision made in a boardroom. That was genuine self-expression, and audiences around the world feel the difference between those two things instantly. Then there is the dedication that has no ceiling. There is a well-known story in K-pop circles that Jimin used to keep practicing alone late into the night long after everyone else had gone home. The result of that is visible in every performance he gives. The kind of precision in his movement that does not come from talent alone, and a quality of presence on stage that makes every show feel like the most important performance he has ever given. There is also the emotional connection he creates. When Jimin thanked Mexican fans in Spanish at the end of that concert, those were not just words he memorized because a manager told him to. That was a real effort to reach across a language barrier and a cultural divide and make thousands of people feel personally seen. And they felt it. That is why Mexico, Gracias Heartsuit, 2 words, became a moment that millions of people are still talking about. And finally, there is the consistency that stretches across years, not weeks. Who was not just viral for a moment and then forgotten. It stayed at the top of a chart for more than 500 days. That is the proof that what Jimin creates is not momentum, it is legacy. When the news of Jimin dominating Naver spread globally, army around the world mobilized immediately. On X, hashtags about Jimin were exploding in country after country at the same time. Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Brazil, the United States, and South Korea, all lighting up simultaneously. Screenshots of the Naver front page with 11 consecutive Jimin articles spread organically across every platform. On TikTok, fancam videos from the Mexico City and Las Vegas concerts racked up tens of millions of combined views. One of the most watched moments was Jungkook playfully lifting Jimin's shirt on stage during the Mexico City show, a callback to an identical moment from 2018, and the side-by-side comparison became content that the entire internet was talking about for days. Fans also moved in organized waves. Fan bases like at Jimin Global and at Jimination_Asak consistently shared Naver articles about Jimin and rallied fans to like, recommend, and share each one, because Naver article engagement feeds directly into Jimin's monthly brand reputation ranking in South Korea. International media was right there too. Forbes reported on Jimin's record-breaking streaming numbers in Mexico. Billboard published a full concert recap from Mexico City. Star News Korea wrote article after article documenting every iconic moment he created across all 3 nights. This was not just trending. This was a full cultural phenomenon. We live in an era where human attention is the rarest commodity on Earth. Every second, thousands of new pieces of content are produced, thousands of new artists debut, thousands of new songs drop. In the middle of all that noise, Jimin managed to freeze one of the biggest news platforms in Korea for an entire day. 11 articles. One name. This was not an accident. This is the product of over a decade of hard work, hundreds of performances, millions of miles traveled, and millions of individual moments of connection with fans in every corner of the world. But beyond all of that, this is proof that music and art genuinely have no borders. A kid from Busan, South Korea stood on the balcony of Mexico's National Palace and made an entire nation stop what it was doing. A song he recorded in Seoul is being played by millions of people in Chile, Brazil, Indonesia, and the United States every day, without stopping, for more than 500 days running. Park Jimin is not just a K-pop idol. He is living proof that when someone pours everything they have into their art without holding anything back, the world will listen. And right now, the world is not just listening. The world cannot stop talking about him. Alright guys, that is the full story behind the phenomenon of Jimin shaking Naver with 11 top articles all at once. From the balcony of Mexico's National Palace, to the viral abs reveal, to the Spanish greeting that melted every heart in the stadium, to his relentless domination of Spotify Korea and Spotify globally, Jimin simply does not stop creating moments worth remembering. If you love this video, go ahead and hit like and share it with every army and every single person who needs to understand just how extraordinary Park Jimin is. Drop a comment below, which Jimin moment hits you the hardest. And if you haven't subscribed yet, that button is right there. One click, and you won't miss a single update about BTS, Jimin, and everything happening in the K-pop world. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and always remember, Purple You, Purple Heart.